Hello students, in today's session let's discuss about the nature reserves, tribal population and human wildlife conflicts in Indian context. First we will discuss about nature reserves. The Indian National Man and Biosphere Committee identifies and recommends potential sites for designation as biosphere reserves following the UNESCO's guidelines and criteria. The origin of biosphere reserves goes back to the Biosphere Conference organized by UNESCO in 1968. By 25th October 2007, 14 biosphere reserves have been established in India. Biosphere reserves is an international designation by UNESCO for representative parts of natural and cultural landscapes extending over a large area of terrestrial or coastal or marine ecosystems. Biosphere reserves are areas of terrestrial and coastal ecosystems promoting solutions to reconcile the conservation of biodiversity with its sustainable use. They are internationally recognized, nominated by national governments and remain under sovereign jurisdiction of the states where they are located. Biosphere reserves serve in some ways as living laboratories for testing out and demonstrating integrated management of land, water and biodiversity. There are over 500 biosphere reserves in over 100 countries. The characteristics of biosphere reserves are: each biosphere reserves are protected areas of land and or coastal environments wherein people are an integral component of the system. Next, the network of biosphere reserves includes significant examples of biomes throughout the world. Each biosphere reserve includes one or more of the following categories, that is, biosphere reserves are representative examples of natural biomes. Biosphere reserves conserve unique communities of biodiversity or areas with unusual natural features of exceptional interest. It is recognized that these representative areas may also contain unique features of landscapes, ecosystems and genetic variations. Example, one population of a globally rare species, their representativeness and uniqueness may both be characteristic of an area. Biosphere reserves have examples of harmonious landscapes resulting from traditional patterns of land use. They have examples of modified or degraded ecosystems capable of being restored to more natural conditions. Biosphere reserves generally have a non-manipulative core area in combination with areas in which baseline measurements, experimental and manipulative research, education and training is carried out. Where these areas are not contiguous, they can be associated in a cluster. Now, let us look into the Indian context. Biogeographical regions in India. The topographical diversity marked by mountainous regions covering an area close to 100 million hectares, arid and semi-arid zones spreading over 30 million hectare and the long coastal line over 7,000 kilometers coupled with varied precipitation constitute a rich landscape diversity. India has created a network of protected areas in the form of 96 national parks, 510 wildlife sanctuaries, 28 tiger reserves and 25 elephant reserves. The area covered under protected area network accounts for around 5% of the total geographical area of the country. Now, we will discuss about tribal population in Indian context. Tribal peoples form a major segment of the world population. They are found all over the world. They are called by different names such as primitive, tribal, indigenous, aboriginal, native and so on. India has a large number of tribal people. According to R.C. Verma, they constitute about 8.08% of the total population. There would be about 6.78 crores out of the total population of 83.86 crores according to 1991 census. The major tribes in India are the Gonds, the Bhils, the Santals, the Aryans and the Minas. The states of Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Bihar, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal and the northeastern region have a larger concentration of tribal population. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are also inhabited by several tribes such as the Great Andamanese, Sentinelese, Ongos, Javas, Sompens and so on. The tribes according to Verma are the autochthonous people of the land who are believed to be the earliest settlers in Indian peninsula. They are called Adivasis, meaning the first settlers. Prior to the caste system, people were divided into different tribes. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the word tribe is derived from the Latin term tribus, which was applied to the three divisions of the early people of Rome. In the Indian epics such as Ramayana, Mahabharata and Puranas, there are many references to interactions and wars between the forest or hill tribes and the Hindus. Eminent historians who have done detailed research on the epic Ramayana have concluded that Lanka, the kingdom of the demonic king Ravana, and Kishkinda, the home of the Varnas, were places situated south of Chitrakuta hill and north of Narmada river in middle India. There are over 700 scheduled tribes notified under Article 342 of the Constitution of India, spread over different states and union territories of the country. The state of Karnataka was created on November 1st, 1956 with the passage of the States Reorganization Act. Karnataka is the home to Tulwas, Kodavas and Konkanis along with minor populations of Tibetan Buddhists. Although there are other ethnic tribes, the scheduled tribe population comprises some of the better known tribes like the Soligas, Yaravas, Todas and Siddhis and constitute 6.95% of the total population of Karnataka. Members of the Adiyan tribe live mostly in Mysore and district bordering Kerala and they speak Kannada. There are few members of around 266 of the Barda tribe of Gujarat and Maharashtra found in the state, mostly in the northern districts. They speak Barda language which is similar to Marathi and Gujarati. Lastly, let us discuss about human wildlife conflicts. Man-animal conflicts are common in various parts of the country. In India, wild elephants probably kill far more people than tiger, leopard or lion. But surprisingly, human conflict involving leopard draws great amount of public attention compared to other animals. Wildlife-human conflicts are a serious obstacle to wildlife conservation and the livelihoods of people worldwide and are becoming more prevalent as human population increases, development expands and global climate changes and other human and environmental factors put people and wildlife in greater direct competition for a shrinking resource base. Human wildlife conflict is any interaction between wildlife and humans which causes harm, whether it is to the human, the wild animal or property. Some examples of human wildlife conflict include predation on livestock or domestic animals by wildlife, ungulate damage of crops and fences, flooding caused by rivers, wildlife straying about residential garbage, squirrels or bats in home attics, birds nesting in undesirable residential locations, vehicle or wildlife collisions. The key reasons for human animal conflict are encroachment of human being in wildlife habitat for development and survival purpose, as well as allowing livestock for grazing purpose in the forest area. Forest fire. This conflict leads loss to both human and animal. The result of this conflict is severe, which results in the loss of crops of farmers and decline in wildlife conservation as well. Let us find out the reasons for human and animal conflict. Roadkills, livestock grazing, increase in human population, land use transformations. Man-animal conflict often results not because animals encroach human territories, but it is vice versa. Often man thinks otherwise because man's thinking is rooted in anthropocentrism. Remember, we are talking about the conflict between man and endangered species. Endangered not because of natural causes alone, but because man failed to preserve and protect them. The attitude was destructive for pleasure and gain. Often it is said such conflicts is due to human population growth, land use transformation, species habitat loss, degradation and fragmentation, increase in ecotourism, access to natural reserves, increase in livestock population, and etc. The conflict between animal and human can be reduced by following steps: improvement of habitat, training programs, awareness programs, boundary walls, eco-development activities. In this session, we have learnt about the concepts of nature reserves, tribal population and human wildlife conflicts. Hope you have got a good insight on various concepts. Until we meet again, bye.